And so now I want to introduce the man who is making all of this possible, who has pioneered this particular event. As a member of Okurajah, Dr. Koney Nkrumah's Young Pioneer Movement, Tawiah cultivated the passion of patriotism and love for Africa. His passion and love for African history have taken him to many organizations and societies. His goal is to uplift the image of the African continent beyond the concept of slavery and colonialization. He is driven by commitment beyond his physical strength and height, and has displayed an undying passion and desire to keep Africa on the world map. His message is that we have been here since the beginning of time, that Africa and people of African descent. His first lesson in humanities is to teach people about their contribution to human development and civilization, and the second lesson is teach them about other civilizations. According to me, sharing African history with the community is his noble calling. Let's welcome him to the podium.
A better place for us to begin tonight would be actually to stand up and give 1 minute silence for our brothers and sisters who never made the journey to their new world. May we rise, please, for a second or a minute silence. And Mr. Togo, could you give us a drum beat when the minute is up, please? Thank you very much. First, I'd like to thank the great I Am for his kindness and for his mercy, and for allowing us to keep the faith while he keeps the promise. I would also like to thank the custodians and the beneficiaries of this great land, the Aboriginal people of this great country, those people who have leased the land to us. Today, we hear the voices of the ancestors flowing among us like the great Saskatoon River. To you, we say thank you for allowing us to share not only your land but your space, spiritually and emotionally. We are humbled to be a part of your land, and we thank you. We also like to thank those Europeans who came here before us, those from English-speaking countries, German, French, Spanish, Chinese, Indian, and then, of course, the African and people of African descent. I welcome you to this glorious occasion, and I'm humbled for the privilege to stand here in the seat of government proclaiming the dawn of a new era. And those of you who are first, second, third, and fourth generations, this is the beginning and this is the genesis of our story. Because Africans, we live by myth, and we live by oral tradition, and we live by stories. We will begin today with a story, and I want you to keep this story in mind because I want you to tell it to your children, and I want them to tell it to their children, and I want their children to tell it to the next children. So please, if you don't take any message home, take this story with you because it will be a light onto your path. Long time ago, during the slave trade, it was at a time when the price of slavery has gone up. A group of young men, slave traders, vigilantes, you may call them, headed to Africa in an effort to become rich. They left with the biggest ship that have ever traveled to Africa. They stay in West Africa for about 6 months. The idea was to pick the cream of the crop, the young, the bold, the beautiful, to ship to the New World. So they were very particular who gets on that ship. And the darker, the stronger. The ship was loaded, and after 6 months, the journey began from West Africa to the New World, traveling on the Atlantic Ocean. On the blue skies, clear waters, halfway through the journey, they started to celebrate their catch, thinking upon reaching the New World, they will become the new members of the rich society. And they started to celebrate.
People they were dealing with were the remnants and the custodians of the greatest promise given to God by man. That promise was the covenant between the African people and God and their God. And that was God told our forefathers that he will never leave us alone. Under no circumstance, no matter what happens to us, he will be with us. So upon reaching the Americas, this story made headlines. Well, the kind of stories they talk about in their offices, around the dining tables, and the question as always, what kind of people are we dealing with? Because under those conditions, and knowing that the slaves were from different empires and you may call it tribe, but you are not tribe. Because we have the Ashanti tribe, you have the Igbo tribe, you have the Yoruba tribe, you have the Zulu, we have all kinds of people. So those were not tribes, those were empire. And the question was, they did not practice, so how can they harm? Now that's the one thing about the whole thing. That people from different empires, different languages, and yet they managed to sing. But the song was coming from a deeper place. And that promise that God made to us, that He will never leave us alone, it is that promise that has brought us here today. Because we have kept the faith, and God has kept His promise. We are the descendants of the greatest promise ever made to God. It is the reason why we endure. It is the reason why we are here. Later on, a man by the name Newton, himself a slave trader, became a slave and felt the ravages of slavery in the West Africa area called Sierra Leone, Liberia. Later on, he converted to become a Christian, understanding the evil that he had taken part in. Of course, the song was home. They never add words to the song. The song was home. But later on, Newton put words to the song and named it An Amazing Grace. The song went on to become a song for every country, every people, every nation. So when you hear the song Amazing Grace, it is amazing because God kept the promise and humanity kept the faith. It is that faith that has brought us this far. And this is the genesis of the diaspora story. I welcome you all. I am very humbled to be given the privilege, because usually I stand on a stool to read the cookie jar in my mother's kitchen, but here I am. I have the privilege to stand on a podium that is just made for me. I also have such a deep understanding of what it means to be given the privilege to speak to a people. In my country, you have to be certain age, and you have to show some understanding of what humanity is all about before you are allowed to speak. And I think I'm old enough and I've lived long enough, and I'm humbled that the mayor is here to actually listen to what we have to say. Maafa, the theme of this event is remembering the transatlantic slave trade, an event that holds a central place in our minds and soul, and to recognize the first Saturday of February each year as Maafa Day. The term Maafa is a Swahili word which gives definition to the catastrophic event experienced by millions of African people during the Middle Passage to the New World. Our core goal as an organization is to use this tragic event in our history as a means to bring the diverse African groups, namely those born in the mainland, the African Canadians, and the African Caribbeans, and to foster a dialogue on important historical issues in our community. Hopefully, through this dialogue, we will come together stronger to create change and foster perspectives that embrace the concept of human dignity. It is also an attempt to take not only the Black community, but the city of Edmonton at large on a walk down memory lane to get a clear understanding of who the African diaspora is and why we are what we are. It is the reason why I titled this speech, I am what I am because of who we are. Several years ago, a question was put to an African American, Dr. Johnny Ray Youngblood of the St. Paul Baptist Church. And the question was, what's wrong with black people? What's wrong with black people? His prophetic answer was, or is, we have never taken time to mourn the loss of our ancestors. And they cry out underneath us and from the heavens and say, have you forgotten us? Because we have not forgotten you. Dr. Johnny Youngblood, the pastor of St. Paul Baptist Church, went on and initiated the celebration of Maafa. And since then, 50,000 people have stopped by the church to sign the condolence book. 50,000 people. And underneath the notebook, it says, let the healing process begin. Today, we are asking the same question. The African History Library project is humble to initiate the celebration of Maafa here in the capital region. And we hope you will make it a celebration because we cannot afford. Hypothetically, if you live with a family that is a tsunami or any tragic event, and a third of the people are wiped out, and then you continue to walk around as if nothing happened. The question is, where is your humanity? There are some in our community. And the idea of silence is not just from the lower class, it's from the people you will never expect. People who are supposed to learn from. They are the ones who will ask you to be quiet. But I subscribe to something Dr. Sio said. He says, speak your mind. For those who mind do not matter. And those who matter do not mind. So don't worry about what they say. Oh, we don't want to talk about it. That was a long time ago. Oh, yeah? My grandfather still speaks to me every morning and asks me to make a contribution to society. He said, my legacy will not be based upon the things I helped to destroy, but it will be based upon the things I helped to build. And if you want a better society, then you must make that contribution. We as South African people want a better identity. And therefore, it is a moral obligation for us to make that contribution. It is that belief that have brought the young men and women from the African History Library project to initiate a celebration of Maafa. For Africa, to me, this is a quote from Dr. Maafa. So for Africa, to me, is more than a glamorous fact. It is a historical truth. For no man can know where he is going unless he knows exactly where he has been and exactly how he arrived at his present place. Unquote. Therefore, if you do not remember, chances are it may happen again. Throughout human history, it has been the inaction of those who could have acted, the indifference of those who should have known better, and the silence of the voice of justice when it mattered most, that have allowed for evil to triumph. If it is not you, who else? If it's not here, when? If there are lessons to be learned in history, my friends, let it be this: that we all have the potential to make a difference. And we must be allowed to do that. We have the potential to do great things and to affect change. The African Diaspora History Library project today is calling all people of African descent, from Africa, from Asia, from the Caribbean, from Europe, from Central and North America, from every mountain and from every valley where they have been. Let us come together and build stronger communities and families, govern the will and spirit of our youth, and prepare them for the 21st century. If we want a better city, as I said earlier, this is the time to come together. This is the time to get involved. Any other city beyond Edmonton, you feel like you are contributing to something that has already been done. The privilege here in the city of Edmonton is that you are part of the building process. So let us dream about the city we want to have 20 years from today. But that 20 years starts today. In recognition of our rich heritage, our tenacity, and our vast contribution to humanity, we embrace and celebrate our uniqueness, our triumph, and even the dark period in our history. The soul trade, as a term, we may call it the slave trade, but we didn't trade as physically, we also traded as spiritually. So I call it the soul trade. Those days are gone. In the words of a friend of mine, Mr. Kalu, who is the chairperson for the African 6th Region, an organization in Toronto. And these are his exact words. He said, the slave days are gone and gone forever. And now I, an African Canadian, proud of my heritage, speak with a voice of peace, freedom, and togetherness, claiming the dawn of a new era. In the spirit of this occasion, let us look back into the present and forge a way forward. Remember, what holds us together as a people, as human beings, is our culture, our heritage, our history. These things identify us, inspire us, comfort us, motivate us, and join us together in our humanity. The road ahead will be long. Our climb will be steep. We may not reach our goal as soon as we may like. Maybe not even in my lifetime. But Edmonton, I've never been more hopeful than I am today that we will get there, I promise you. As always, we appreciate your friendship and support and remain grateful to each and every one of you. We most certainly welcome your thoughts, prayers, and ideas as we strive to do our best in preserving and sharing our history with all Canadians. We do urge each and all to remain steadfast in preserving our heritage while taking pride in our collective accomplishments. Our collective goal as a people should always be the pursuit of a better human condition. And I want to read this part again. Hear me out. Our collective goal as a people should always be the pursuit of a better human condition. Seeking to raise the bar while preserving and sharing our enduring traditions. May our legacy be the things we have to build as a game, not the things we have helped to destroy. We wish you and your family good health, love from a deeper place. And as always, our love to you. You remember, we have come this far, but the Shiloh Baptist Church sang the song a while ago. We've come this far by faith and an amazing grace. Long live Canada, long live the people of African descent. I thank you.